Alright then, so now we have our view app and root component right here, and we're mounting that to the DOM at this position, the div with an ID of app. So now it controls this section, right? Now remember, the whole idea of using Vue is to make our website or widgets in the website more interactive and dynamic. And one part of that is to be able to output dynamic variables or data. So say for example, I wanted to output inside this app element a book title. I could do that right here by creating a paragraph tag and then just typing or hard coding the book title. So the final Empire, for example, is a book title. And yeah, if I save this, I'm going to see it on the screen. Now imagine that this value might change over time or in reaction to user events. We might have a button that a user clicks and that cycles through some different values of book titles. So we see different values right here. Now, to implement that functionality, when we're hard coding a value, would be quite hard to constantly change this. So instead, what I'd like to do is output some kind of variable here instead, a title variable. Now, we can do that in Vue. The way we do it is by creating a data function inside our component. So I could say data, like so, and this, by the way, is shorthand for a function inside an object. We say the function name, parentheses, and then curly braces, and inside that function I can return a data object. So this is important. We must create a function and then return an object inside that function, and the properties we make inside this object are then accessible from our template. So I could create a title property, and that would be the final Empire, and then over in the template that title property would be accessible as a variable. So instead of hard coding it right here, I could do double curly braces to output a variable and then the property name, and this property name matches whatever we called it right here, and then close the double curly braces. So this is how we output a variable or dynamic value inside our template. Double curly braces, the name of the property we want to output, and then close the curly braces. And now if I save this and preview, we don't see double curly braces title, we see the value of that data property, right? And like I said, the benefit of this is that if this value over time changes or changes in reaction to the user doing something, then it's going to update over here because now it's not hard coded. This is a dynamic changeable value. Now we can define as many different properties inside this object as we like. So I'm going to say author, and that will be not the Brandon Sanderson, like so, and also maybe an age property, and I'm going to say 45. I don't know whether that is his age, I've just guessed that, but if I save this now, we can then output those variables inside this template. So let me do that. I'm going to say author first of all, and then I'll do another one which is the age, and now we should be able to see all of those in the browser, and we do, Brandon Sanderson and 45. Now, it doesn't matter what data type you use inside this object. We can use numbers, we can use strings, we can use objects, arrays, booleans, etc. It really doesn't matter. The only limitation we have really is that we can't use those variables outside of the scope of the Vue app, and that is outside of this element right here, because this is where we're mounting the Vue app. So if I try to access a variable outside of that, like the title, this is not going to work. It just outputs title like this because Vue is not controlling this part of the web page, okay? Only the stuff inside this element. Now, if we try to access a variable that doesn't exist, for example, if I change this to titles, then it's not going to find that and it's not going to output anything. It will just be left blank. So let's change that back to title and save it. And now we see everything again. So next up, I'm going to show you how we can update these values in reaction to click events.